Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dog Huddle, your gateway to an in-depth connection between sports medicine and the latest events in sports, fantasy, and betting. Today's show is brought to you by the Health and Wellness Depot. Unlock the power of well-being. I'm Dr. Mikey B. With me, as always, Dr. MJB, the legend. CJ, the sports enthusiast, is off as he is out there saving the world for our well-being, our good well-being, and we're just going to be here recapping Week 8 and giving you a little bit of a preview before tonight's Monday Night Football game. So we thank you all for listening. And the legend, how are we doing today?
Doing well, man. Monday, new week. It's crazy to think 8 games already have been played in the NFL, but hey, here we are. We're enjoying it. Crazy watching some of these games. The back and forth, man. You would think that some teams are way better than others, but then some teams just end up losing. You're just like, man, so much either a lot of parity in the league or a lot of the two. One of the two.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah, yesterday was it was an interesting football day. A patient of mine this morning asked me, what I thought about the games yesterday. He's an older gentleman, and he likes to converse about football and such. And he's a Giants fan. And I said to him, I'm like, listen, I have not been watching football as long as you, but since I could speak, I have been watching football. And football on Sundays has been religion, right? And dude, this is the first Sunday in my life where I wanted to turn it off. Like I had the Giants game still on. Between injuries, more injuries, and terrible, officiating and just bad football, and not just the Giants, just in general, like across the league. I just was like, yeah, I'm just gonna. I mean, I didn't turn it off, but I just started doing stuff, getting stuff done. It was just not a good week. We're approaching the halfway mark now. Let's really hope that we start seeing things turn around for the better. I certainly hope so. And what better time to talk about more bad news? Unfortunate news came in early yesterday morning, late Saturday evening. Nick Mangold, the football legend, former New York Jets center, unfortunately passed away at the early age of 41 due to kidney disease. Dude, this is pretty wild. I was thinking about it. For a guy who was diagnosed with this kidney issue, back in 2006, I believe it was, and he was diagnosed the same year he came into the league in 2006, and it took this many years, and he couldn't find a compatible donor. I mean, it's been 19 years. And couldn't find someone or a compatible match. It's so unfortunate. It's so sad. CJ, the sports enthusiast, making it clear to us. Yeah, guess what? The Jets came out and got a win for him, and it's a great point. I think they did it in a particular fashion that was easily the most exciting Jets finish in a long time. So, congrats to the New York Jets on erasing the 0 and getting their first win this year. And thoughts and prayers to Nick Mangold's family. What are your thoughts on this terrible news, Mike?
Too many players just passing away such an early age, man. He still had his life ahead of him. You could see how emotional distraught Rex Ryan was when talking about him too. One of his players. So, honestly,
he was in rough shape.
Yeah, man.
Rex.
And you can just see how it really impacted him. And for any of these guys, man, like figures of us watching them grow up and then not seeing them maintain the same livelihood and lifestyle to live longer lives is just sad. It's sad to see, sad to hear. And just how frequent it's happening, right? Like that's been the most thing that's been shocking. It's just one after the other. It's like, what is going on?
And I was thinking about it, and Doug Martin last week, Nick Mangold this week, they have nothing to do with football, which is the craziest part. Both deaths had nothing to do with the history of playing football. It's just weird. I don't know. It's just telling you, there's been a weird aura around the game this year, and I don't like it. I don't like it. So, again, thoughts and prayers out to his family, and hopefully, Nick from upstairs can prevent any further loss of life this year because it's been too much, too many, like you said. So moving forward from that, we got a game tonight, and we got the Commanders going into Arrowhead to take on the Kansas City Chiefs, right? And so this is it had all the makings in the beginning of the year to be a fun game, right? Commanders were looking good, Chiefs were not. No disrespect to Marcus Mariota, but Chiefs are on the rise, as they always do, mid-season form. They got back all three receivers, all three of Mahomes' weapons last week. I don't think this is going to be a fun one to watch. I think that this is going to be a blowout. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, to say the least. Yeah, man. Like you said, if they have a healthy quarterback, I think it's a super exciting game, Monday night game. But yeah, I just don't see the Commanders being able to keep up with the Chiefs. So I think Chiefs take this in a convincing win, and you just got to hope that it's not bad before halftime, so that way people still have something to watch.
Yeah, I agree. So I mean, listen, one thing that we can get people excited about for tonight's game is winning some money. So let's hear what you got. The legend working hard for everybody once again to try to put money in their pockets. So I'd love to hear it. The legend, what do we got?
Here comes the money. All right, so in a while, been back on Prize Picks. So back on Prize Picks, and I put the 3-leg parlay. I have Travis Kelce with a rushing or receiving touchdown tonight. Juju Smith Jr. with 12.5 receiving yards or more. And then Zach Ertz, less than 31.5 receiving yards, because I just don't trust Mariota. If you take this bet, you can bet $20 and win $120. Okay,
Wow,
20 for 120. I think it's a good and safe bet. I was iffy on the Ertz thing, but I was like 31.5. I could see Mariota not getting him that. So
yeah,
what are your thoughts?
I like it a lot. For those of you who didn't hear the legend when he first started talking about his parlay, we're having a little bit of connection issues, but he was just mentioning that we're back on Prize Picks, as he noted in the title there, and he had Travis Kelce for an anytime touchdown, in addition to the Juju Smith and the Zach Ertz metrics that are listed there. Yeah, Mike, I like it a lot. The Mariota thing, we talked about it off air. Neither of us trust his arm, right? So, like, if they're going to move the ball, it's going to have to be on the ground. We know already that the Chiefs' secondary has been very good this season. And it's National Tight Ends Day. So, or week, I should say. It was yesterday, but that carries over onto today. And it couldn't be more fitting for Travis Kelce to get a touchdown. So I agree. I like it. I think that 20 to win 20, I mean, this is nice. I think the biggest risk here is not the Zach Ertz guys. I think it's the Juju, just because of competing for targets. But if he gets 1 or 2 targets, he can hit that 12.5 yards, and he's looking good. So I'd take this in a heartbeat.
Yeah, dude, I just see Patrick Mahomes scrambling, running around for his life. Boom, throw a 20-yard pass to Juju Smith-Schuster. I don't need him to do anything else.
No, one target, hit,
that.
done, boof. Completely agree. For myself, what do you know? I also have Kelce anytime touchdown. It's National Tight Ends Day. This is the one time of year that you have to bet anytime touchdowns on tight ends. I mean, you just got to do it. It's insane how many score on this week. It's hysterical. I think the Chiefs win, right? The Spread is minus 10.5 currently. I took an alternate spread at minus 6.5 just in case something weird happens and the game's a little bit closer. Defensive touchdowns, special teams touchdowns. As long as the Chiefs win by 1 touchdown, guys, you're going home with a win here. And then we talked about it. We don't trust Mariota through the air today. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, 40 rushing on the ground. This is an alternate rush as well. And then Marcus Mariota, 25 rushing. I think that he's going to try to make plays, loose plays, with his legs because guys aren't going to be open downfield. And he's going to take off. He does that just 2 or 3 times. He could hit this mark, right? If he's rushing for 7 yards a carry, he goes with the ball 4 times, he hits. So I think that it's possible. And $10 wins you 80 on DraftKings. They got a 25% boost. Same game parlay for Monday Night Football. So check out DraftKings for this one tonight. What do you think?
Yeah, I like it a lot, especially I like the rushing yards for both the QB and running back. Yeah, I just don't trust Mariota's arm, and I think if Washington is going to try to have a chance to win, you're going to have to run the ball and and kill the clock because the longer you can keep Mahomes on the sideline, the better your odds are of winning. And then yeah, like you said, National Tight Ends Week, so it's like you kind of just got to go with it,
You got to go with it. You got to go. Now, let me ask you something. Going back to yours, I'm going to pull yours up real quick just because, we feel good about mine. We feel good about yours. But there's one thing that is interesting here. First and foremost, CJ, the sports enthusiast, made it very clear that he's got Zach Ertz going tonight in fantasy, so he's rooting against your bet. And with that being said, do we feel nervous that we're going with the under here, knowing that it's National Tight Ends Day, or do we feel that Mariota's inability to get it done in the air surpasses National Tight Ends Week?
The latter.
Fair.
Fair,
and I think that's very.
Very fair. It's easy to say he can go over, right? 32 yards, and this parlay doesn't exist. But I don't know. I just don't trust Mariota, man. I really don't, and I know Chris is rooting for him to do well, but 2 things can be true at once, right? One he can be rooting for it, and I can be not rooting for that. So
100%, and to be expected. So I think I think both can happen. I think Ertz has proved to us many, many times again that he is more than capable, despite his age, to be a productive tight end in this league. You need a quarterback to throw him the football, though. So that will remain to be seen in just 1 hour from now when the game kicks off.
And so, quite frankly, I don't want to see you or Chris in the playoffs if I'm just being honest.
Nobody wants to see me in the playoffs. Listen, everyone's going to get that, okay, this year because by the way, just I don't know if you know, but every time I log in, right, and I'm looking at my lineup, right next to my name, I don't know if you can see it when you play me, but there's a crown right next to it. It says 2024 crown. I'm like, this is incredible. I'm going to miss this because unfortunately, okay, championship teams can't win when their teams get hurt, right? And as we all know, we said it off the air, no one has sustained more injuries than the previous champ. All right. So with that being said, I can understand all of our listeners. There's a reason why he doesn't want me to make it, right? Because everyone knows if I make it to the playoffs, you're in trouble.
I take that statement back.
Incredible. So let's get into a recap now. Before we do that, let's see what some updates we have from the sports enthusiast. Yeah, so he agrees with despite him wanting Ertz to win and do well for his fantasy team. Unfortunately, Ertz put up a whopping 0 last time Mariota was at quarterback. So if history repeats itself, everyone lock in the Legends parlay because it's going to get you paid tonight. So let's go ahead and recap some of this past week.
Okay. So, Mike, just like last week, it's going to be a rapid fire recap. I'm going to throw out 7 different games to you. Okay.
Okay.
And again, we're not going to use the time to get all teams in, but we'll go 7 games, give you about a minute or so for each, and then you'll just give me thoughts and where you think things are heading for those teams. Okay, so first one we got is last Thursday. Chargers at Vikings. Score 37-10. Chargers won. Chargers currently 5-3. Vikings currently 3-4. Thoughts?
Yeah, I think that the Chargers are a team we don't know enough about. I think that injuries on that offensive line and at the running back position have really hindered how good they can be, despite winning 37-10 here against the Vikings. I think that this is a team, be careful, because they're going to stay relevant throughout this entire season. And then they are likely on track if everyone else on this team stays healthy. They just got Khalil Mack back this past week. If they continue to get healthy on the back end on the second half of this year, we're talking, I see it now. I'm sitting at the Thanksgiving table and we're chatting it up about different, teams and where they're going. And this Chargers team is one that's going to be making a run for the playoffs and then some, whether it's for the division or for the wild card. But this is a team that you don't sleep on once they get healthy. If they don't get healthy, unfortunately, I think it's going to be another letdown. But if they get healthy, especially at that offensive line, they're going to be good. Vikings suck. Terrible.
Yeah.
Listen, as a Giants fan, as a Panthers fan, as a Dolphins fan, okay? The quarterback position is the most important position in all of sports, period. If you do not have one, your team cannot go anywhere, right? They're going to be stagnant, anemic, lethargic. Use whatever word you want. They're not going to move. I think I said this last week, and I can't believe I'm saying it again. Not re-signing Sam Darnold was the single most worst thing that the Vikings could have done. I'm shocked that those words are coming out of my mouth. Do you disagree? Help me here, because maybe got to get your boy and I'm acting crazy. But not signing Darnold was the worst thing that this team could have done, because they're 3-4. JJ McCarthy comes back this week. What does that bring you from a D to a C minus at the quarterback position? So maybe that 37-10 is 37-17. I mean,
yeah, I think that loss says more about the Vikings inept to even put up points than how good the Chargers are. I don't think Chargers are bad. I don't know enough. They have a winning record, but when you don't have a quarterback, it makes it hard to really assess, how well that team could be. Hence,
Yep.
Ravens. So Ravens going through the exact same scenario. So yeah, I think Chargers is to determine. Vikings, I think, man, they're shooting themselves in the foot for not going that route. But okay, we'll move things on. Let's go Dolphins, Falcons. Dolphins beat the Falcons 34-10 on Sunday.
Kirk Cousins don't have it no more, dude.
Yeah.
Crazy, but he don't have it no more. Listen, I think that if the Dolphins show up and they can get things firing in all cylinders, they're a team that can still win football games. I think it's a combination of coaching and the quarterback play that's just so inconsistent that results in a 2-6 record. I really do. I think that they got athletes, man. They got players. So you saw what Waddle did to the Falcons this week, right? I was hoping that the Giants would find a way to trade for Waddle, bring him over to us, because I know how good he can be. Giants are completely going to be irrelevant the rest of the year, so that's not going to happen. And this particular game, because I was running out of teams, right? CJ Sports Enthusiast, myself, we thought maybe Falcons could win this one, or the Bengals against the Jets. Well, guess what? They both lost in the when going for the survivor pool. Yeah. I think both teams are going to go nowhere. I think that the Falcons are a team that has greater expectations than what they deserve.
Mm-hmm.
I think they are overrated, and they are not going to go anywhere. And I think the team that's going to outplay them and finish second in the division are your Carolina Panthers over the Atlanta Falcons.
Now, the the inconsistency with the Falcons, they need to have the FBI run an investigation on these guys, because it makes no sense from week to week of what's going on. Like, 1 week you beat the Bills, the next week you get blown out by the Panthers, Finally, we get blown out by the Dolphins. What is going on? Like, what team are you? Are you good or are you not? And I think the loss yesterday says that you're not. Okay, I still don't think the Dolphins are good. I still think they have weapons, like you said, and can be formidable when hitting on all cylinders. But I just think, man, this solidified that the Falcons are just an inept football team and have lots to work on. But okay, so let's keep things rolling. Let's have the Ravens beat the Bears 30-16 on Sunday. Thoughts?
Listen, I understand that the Ravens going into this game this week were 1-5. And I understand that they've now surpassed their bye week and they will not have another break the rest of the year. However, I agree with Cynthia Friedland from NFL Network, okay, who knows what the hell she's talking about. The Baltimore Ravens will be in the playoffs. Because when they get Lamar back this week, he's going to create lemonade out of oranges. Okay? And this guy is going to find ways to get it done. And if they manage to beat a 4-2 Bears team 30-16 without him, just by the change of the quarterback. Listen, Cooper Rush, he was okay when he was on the Cowboys. He was god-awful as a Raven. Right? They got Huntley in there. They had some better quarterback play. Oh, my goodness, look what happened. They win 30-16. Lamar comes back. I think that this is going to be a team. And the Bears defense is a good defense. This is a team do not sleep on. I don't know if they'll be able to catch and win the division, but I think that they're going to win enough games where they're going to be maybe squeaking in as the last wild card, and maybe they do damage that way because when they do well and they win the division, they're terrible in the playoffs. So maybe this is what they need. Something weird where they have to win on the road in the playoffs to have success. That'll remain to be seen. What are your thoughts?
And he can pass. Of course. I love to see this. And I totally agree with your last point. You took the words out of my mouth. Pause. But I think that Lamar comes back and their wildcard team, you have little to no expectations at that point. People are surprised he even made it.
Goes wild,
yeah.
Bro.
Can you imagine if he wins the Super Bowl that way? Mm-hmm. Woo! Mm-hmm. Florida stand up. So
and there's no bye, bro. There's no bye week. There's no like. It's just hey, we're rolling. We're just gonna keep rolling. And like you said, the expectations are for them to not make the playoffs. They squeak in. It's like, oh shit, they just made the playoffs. Good for them. Like at least they made something in the season. And then just wait. This could be a turnaround, big time for the Baltimore Ravens. Bears, another overrated team. They're 4-2 record going into that game. No.
Yeah, and much shorter season for Lamar, right? So like, if we start to think about fatigue and other things settling in, you can look at this as a 10-week season. So
yeah, that may play a role. My biggest concern is the running game. Derrick Henry clearly is not what he has been, in the past. I thought he had at least one more year in him. I mean, unless somehow, some way he starts picking up steam and starts doing more. He was not good with Lamar there before Lamar got hurt this year. Who the hell knows what happens? But I think that their biggest issue is that they got to get more production out of him. And if they do, I think that they can go places.
Yeah. All right. Next game up, we have the Jets pulling the upset win over the Bengals. Thoughts, man?
Yeah, listen, dude. I mean, I have a lot of thoughts about this game. I want to start actually with Cincinnati. The Bengals put up 38 points with Joe Flacco. They're in the 30s 2 weeks in a row. Listen, good for Joe Flacco. Okay, good for this Bengals offense. They are literally 38 points. Okay, like I don't care who you play in the NFL. You put up 38 points, like you did good.
Yeah.
The Bengals are who we thought they were. Even if Burrow was there, okay, we said it in the beginning of the year that if the Bengals are going to have any success, they got to put up 50 a week if they're going to try to make it to the playoffs because gaping holes in this defense. I mean, this is I mean, I know that the Dallas Cowboys are supposed to be the worst defense in the NFL. I mean, these guys are, if not tied for worst, they're number 2. They're the second worst, right? Like, they are awful. So,
Starter.
Right. Hey, listen, the Jets took advantage of it. And if there was any week for the Jets to race the 0, this was the week, as we mentioned, with the passing of Nick Mangold. So good for the Jets. Not that I normally root for them, but I'm happy for them this week out of all weeks. And, it's very hard to go winless in the NFL. So they might only get one more if they're lucky, but at least they erased the 0. That's done and over with.
Yeah, because of the Nick Mango loss, I was totally happy and excited for them.
And how they
excited
did
for
it
Justin
was,
Fields too, man, because like he's a good kid, and
yeah.
so for him to get that win too, I think. And then Aaron Glenn said something funny. He was like, "Listen, before you can start to learn how to win, you got to learn how to lose."
My man.
I just thought that was hysterical because I was like, "Yeah, well, that's a good point." I mean,
they call it Thomas Edison. What was it, like thousands of ways you can find how to not make a light bulb? Only one way to make it work.
Exactly.
Right? Guys, Thomas Edison.
Incredible. So yeah, definitely excited for that. Moving on to the next game. The Bills put a whopping 40 on the Panthers, only 9 points. Yeah, thoughts, and then I'll chime in.
I really want to hear more about what you have to say about this game. I mean, this is one of those where, like, not so good teams have been playing the Bills pretty tough. And so I'm not saying I thought that the Panthers were going to win this game by any means, but like you go in this game with the same record as the Buffalo Bills, dude. Mm-hmm. You're 4-3. They're 4-3. Like, I'm expecting you to lose by, a touchdown. Like if you're telling me that the spread was like Bills 7, -7, Panthers +7, something like that's formidable. 40-9 at home. I mean, are these guys posers too? You tell me. What is this?
Oh, the Panthers are absolutely posers. 1,000%. Listen,
awful, dude. Awful.
I was telling my buddy before the game, I was like, I actually don't like the fact that we're winning because I wanted something to change, believe it or not. I just don't think that there's enough synchrony between play calling and QB play. I don't think there's enough synchrony or consistency from either the coach or the player. So Bryce didn't play, so Andy Dalton started. God, he looked terrible. And
I get the 9 points, right? Sorry, not to interrupt you. I just want to say, like, I get them not scoring a lot with a backup quarterback, right? I just went on the whole spiel of the importance of the quarterback, but like 40 points?
Yeah. Well, Cook had over 200 yards rushing, so we couldn't stop the run at all, but we couldn't sustain drives. I think that's a part of it, right? Like, even though we weren't putting up points, we could not sustain drives. It's 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. At some point, it's going to give. I'm not saying that it's all on the defense. I mean, I'm not saying it's all on Andy Dalton for not sustaining drives, but that's a big part of it, man. Like, if you can't stay on the field, how many opportunities are you giving the other team to try to make things happen? And Josh Allen didn't have to do much, man. James Cook made us look like, barbecue chicken out there, dude. He just ran left and right. I was like, God, man, this guy looks like it looks like old LaDainian Tomlinson running out there. So, yeah, I just think that we are posers. Reality set in, and it lets us know exactly where we stand. And I kind of needed to see it because I wanted to know what kind of team we were going to be, and it showed. So who knows? I mean, still a lot of football left, but yeah, we definitely got our tails handed to us.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. Yeah, like you said, there's a lot of football left, and you're still relevant, right? Like, it's not like you're not relevant. So I mean,
no, for sure.
You're 2 games back from the division lead, but man, if you won, you'd be a game back. That's crazy. I mean, Bryce comes back, you can't afford to lose. That's what it comes down to.
No. Yeah. Okay, and then let's go Browns Patriots. Patriots beat the Browns 32-13.
Did you see that Mike Portnoy put $50,000? Mike Portnoy, the head of Barstool, he put Dave Portnoy put $50,000 on the Patriots to win the Super Bowl.
Wow.
That happened. I saw it on social media right before our show. I don't know if he did that after the win or not, but my point is, not that he certainly knows a lot, or he might claim he does, but that's besides the point. All I have to say is there's something to that. The Patriots are the real deal, dude.
Yeah.
You're going up against one of the best defenses in the NFL, and you put up 32 points. I mean, dude, and you know the really crazy thing is, like, the Patriots are like the Patriots of old, where it's like, what big stud wide receiver does this team have? You know, and Drake May is just out there balling, dude. I think they're the real deal. Congratulations to Myles Garrett, 5 sacks. He's still not the sack leader.
My God, dude.
Brian Burns is still the sack leader, so I love that. But yeah, unbelievable game for him. And that's the crazy thing. He gets 5 sacks, and you still give up 32 points and lose 32-13. I don't know. The Browns are goddamn helpless. What are your thoughts?
No, I think like you said, man, Patriots are back. It's gonna sound cringy to say, but when Patriots are relevant, football is decent because now it gives us somebody to actually root up against. So like, you know, Patriots are like the heel of the NFL, at least to me. So like when they're relevant, I'm like, all right, cool, keep winning.
Yeah,
so when crunch time comes, I can root against you. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean,
exactly.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get it. I get it. Unfortunately, they're not in the NFC where they can knock off the Birds, you know, the Eagles. But you know, there's not much worse than like an Eagles Patriots Super Bowl, which we've had to deal with now already. I don't want that again. But yeah, that's a thing.
and like you said, man, give credit to Myles Garrett. Listen, Myles Garrett and T.J. Watt. I think we got to appreciate these guys a little bit more because these guys aren't even at their 10th season, both over 100 sacks. It's like, bro, this is crazy. Like, I don't even know what the end could be for them. They can push that envelope, dude. Especially like someone like T.J. Watt. Like he can. I don't know what he finishes with, but man, they're on good pace to shatter some numbers if they keep doing what they're doing.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. You know, the other one that I want to mention, you know, in his 6th year, Max Crosby at 63.5. He's another guy who's on a deflated team that's awful, and you know, he's someone that, like, I feel like if he was on a more formidable team, we might even see greater production out of him. It's you know,
yeah,
it's unfortunate, sure. But you know,
it's just crazy because I think both those guys played like 8 seasons, man, and it's like, holy crap, 100 sacks is crazy.
It's true. It's absolutely insane. I mean, they're in a league of their own. Yeah, bottom line. I mean, I think Myles Garrett single-handedly is the best pass rusher of the recent era.
Yeah, and people can say like T.J. Watt has the stats. There's nothing he can't do. Is my point. It's not like I don't think that he has like the same pass rush moves as T.J. Watt, but like don't need it. Like the guy's just a monster. They've been a number 1 defense for a while for a reason, and he's the heart and soul for that defense. You remove him, and it's a completely different defense. You add him, and it's like, oh my God, Jesus. So nothing to take away from T.J. Watt. I'm just saying, like, that guy is just complete in all phases. It's just crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I think the year that the defensive player of the year went to him over T.J. Watt, I thought was blasphemy because the numbers said for that year. Career-wise, though, I think that Myles Garrett is the king edge rusher in the last 7-8 years. I mean, honestly,
yeah.
But since he came in the league, he's really taken the league by storm. But and he's doing great again. The crazy thing for me is that these guys aren't slowing down, especially Garrett. He's not slowing down.
It's like that's the crazy.
That's right. That's the crazy part, So
yeah, dude. I'm sorry if a guy gets 2 sacks. I would not let you get another one, dude. I don't care however I'm calling this. if I only have to have you throw left, like I'm not
Yeah.
letting this guy get another one. Like, or when I hear a guy gets 2 picks in the game, there's no way he's getting 3 because I refuse. Like, game plan has changed, so it's just funny when a guy goes 5, 6 sacks or 3 picks in a game. It's like, man, 2 wasn't enough, huh?
Yeah, just unstoppable, dude.
Yeah.
Unstoppable.
Okay, so last 2 games that I was gonna hit you with,
Mm-hmm.
Broncos, Cowboys.
Okay, real quick. Broncos, they were 6-2 team.
44. Yeah.
You're right.
Just so you know, the score was 44-24.
Got it. Yeah, yeah. So they like almost doubled, the Cowboys score. It was not close. Fact of the matter is that I think we're seeing a little bit more of who the Cowboys are versus, what the Broncos are capable of. Listen, the Giants aren't a good football team, right? They have good players, but they're not a good football team. And they should have beaten the Broncos at Mile High Stadium just last week. The Cowboys should be a much better football team than the New York Giants. And to lose 44-24, part of that is because the Cowboys defense is just so abysmal. And honestly, I was expecting more from Dak. He did not have a good game. Guys don't have good games, but, fortunately, the Cowboys, I think, have been relying heavily on his play because if he's just not playing at the MVP level like he has been in some of the other games, like, you're going to get blown out. Because, again, there's another team where there's no defense. So you got to throw up 40-plus points to win against any formidable team. And an average game by Dak is just not going to get done with this team.
Yeah. And too, man, Patrick Surtain, he's the best corner in the league, bro. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
It's just crazy, man. Yeah, he's just phenomenal. I think they finally ran into some quality corners. So now it's like, oh, all right, yeah, you guys are trying to be the bully for a while. Well, you met a bully. So, yeah, just kind of what it was. We already know their defense is abysmal, but offensively, they just couldn't really move the ball much. And it's like, man, the Broncos defense showed up and showed out.
Yeah, I completely agree. And, I didn't watch a ton of the game, right? I watched a bunch of it. And, guys, like, this is a copycat league. Like, the Giants showed how you can do it. And I know that they played a little bit of 12 personnel and we saw, a couple 2 tight end sets there, but Ferguson was irrelevant in the game. I know he's on my fantasy team. He's my fantasy tight end. He literally 0. Okay? 0. Zilch. And the way that other teams have moved the ball was using the tight end. You go in there and you just think, oh, well, we're the Cowboys. We got CeeDee Lamb. We got George Pickens. But we're fine. No, like, their weakness was through the air against the tight end, mismatches, things of that nature. I didn't see any of this. So, like, I don't know. And then with the Broncos, last thing I wanted to say is, like, they're 6-2, and they're a very good football team. I just something about them tells me that they are vulnerable. A lot of these games that they played, they've won, but not in decisive fashion. So when games start to matter even more, especially as some of these other AFC teams start getting better, like their divisional opponent in the Chiefs, if the Chargers start to figure it out, like this Broncos team, if they can't keep it up, like they're in for some trouble if they don't figure it out, because I'm not sold on them yet.
Yeah. And it's funny, it's the first time in a while that we've ever seen both the Colts and Patriots relevant again in the AFC, dude. I just I was like, it's been so long since saying that. Definitely ain't Peyton Manning or Tom Brady, but
no, far from it.
But both
little do we know,
go far. Both can go far.
Oh, big time. And, little did we know that what we were watching at that time was just like the best of football. It's just crazy to me.
Yeah. Okay, last game we'll end with Eagles 38 over your G-Men 20. Talk to
Yeah,
me.
so this game was one of the most deflating games I have watched in a long time. Um, first and foremost, and let me be clear, the officiating could have been great, and the Giants still would have lost this game. Okay, so not even worth saying like, oh, we could have won if no, we would have lost regardless. However, when the officiating was as bad as it was during this game, it makes it so unwatchable. It's brutal, so bad where like Tom Brady is making comments, and that he's bringing in Dean Blandino, who's the head referee. For the head referee's opinion, and he's saying comments like, "Yep, what is this? 0 for 11, Dean?" Like, and he's like, "Yeah, it's another missed call." It's like it was so bad that like there's talks on social media about how like, oh, the whole scandal with the FBI and the NBA, like this game needs to be reviewed by the FBI because that's how bad the officiating was. It was abysmal. Things from, I had this question from a couple of patients today that watch football and asked like, "Hey, do you understand this whole issue with the forward progress?" So I just want to explain it for the viewers. When you hear the referees call forward progress in football, that means that when the ball carrier is going forward, their forward motion is stopped, and then they are stopped and begin to move backwards. Or essentially, there's a delineated time period where they're no longer going forward. Okay, at that point in time, they can blow the whistle dead. The play goes dead, and now that deems that the player that was carrying the ball is down there. When that occurs, the play is dead. That's where the ball is spotted, and it's as if the player was tackled. Play's over. During the tush push, when Jalen Hurts reached out to try to reach the ball over the first down marker, as he's reaching the ball out, the ball was taken out of his hands by Kayvon Thibodeau, which is a fumble, Giants football. When you reach the ball out, unless if it's for the goal line for the touchdown, if that ball goes over the goal line for a touchdown, the play's over, it's a touchdown. Any other time, it's a live ball. So if I'm reaching my arms out and my body's going forward, my forward progress has not been stopped, so we cannot call the play dead. They did anyway. There was no whistle. The whistle was blown after he had received the ball, and then they blew the play dead, and they said, no, first down. So that was one of many. Things like Darius Slayton being held by Quinshon Johnson and trying to get off of him while he was holding him. They called a pass interference on the offense. I mean, it was an irate call. Took the touchdown off the board. You had guys like Wan'Dale Robinson being called for offensive pass interference for like a pick play. There was about 3 yards from him and the receiver. Wasn't even close to touching him. The receiver the defender just fell down. All right, like there was just crazy, like multiple false starts that were not called. It goes on and on and on and on and on. So bad that like when the Fox commentators and Tom Brady were basically making fun of the refs, making statements like, yeah, so there's backups when you have football players that don't play well. But then there's unfortunately no backups for the referees. Like we can't bench the referee. Like that's saying something. So bad for the game. I know that doesn't talk about the game itself, but I wanted to say that because it was so bad that the game became not watchable. Not even because of how bad the Giants played. Other than that, I want to just say this: the Eagles are starting to pick up steam. They're starting to look better. They're figuring it out. As for the Giants, also posers, just like the Panthers. I think that a lot of it honestly has to do with not only like they're a banged up football team. They have a lot of injuries right now, but the coaching frustrates excuse my language, the ever loving shit out of me. If you had success the last 2 weeks, because Darius Slayton, who's now has to be your number one wide receiver because we lost Malik Neighbors, he was out with a hamstring injury for the last 2 weeks. So we were running 12 personnel the last 2 weeks, which means you're running with 2 tight ends, right? If you're running with 2 tight ends and you're having all this success with your rookie quarterback, you beat the Eagles. You should have beaten the Broncos. And now you're playing the Eagles, and you already beat them definitively with one particular way of like moving the ball. Oh, Darius Slayton comes back. Okay, we're going to go to 11 personnel. We're going to run majority of this with single tight end sets. oh, and now we don't move the ball as efficient. It's like something's working. Why are we fixing? I don't know. Very frustrating. I want your thoughts on that from a third party. Like, it's just getting old with the coaching.
Yeah.
Oh, not to mention they gave up just as much. They gave up more rushing yards than the Giants had gotten total yards in that game because our defense is more porous than a goddamn sponge. Now I'm done.
I wonder if they thought that they were trying to, and I didn't watch the game, so I'm just relying on, your insight and answering your question. I wonder if they tried to overthink it and be like, well, they know they're probably expecting this, so what if we made some changes and catch them by surprise by going 11 personnel instead of doing what we've done before. I don't know if that's their thought process, and if it is, it's like, don't overthink it, just do what works, and if it doesn't work, just have a game plan for that. Like, right? Like, I think that'd be the simpler way than to go into it. We're like, you know what? I know what to do. Let's trick them because they think they're gonna, like, you know what I'm saying? It's just retarded because you don't know for that to be true. So, yeah.
Yeah. Once again, someone on either the coaching staff or player personnel or whatever trying to outthink everyone else with the New York Giants. It's just like, dude, just stop. But anyway, I think the biggest thing that we need to talk about from this game, which is a good segue, is unfortunately Cam Scatterbo injury. I mean, listen, dude, this was deflating beyond all belief. If the game didn't suck enough, I mean, this was just awful. I want to say, despite how much I normally dislike the Eagles, to see the Eagle fans who I would normally believe to see like booing them, yelling things at a Giants player despite them getting injured, giving him a standing ovation when he's getting carted off the field after dislocating his ankle. And then their head of security, Dom, right? He went to the hospital with cheesesteaks and pizzas for him and his family after the game. This is the Eagles' head of security. I mean, pretty nice to hear. I feel like that, if anything, was the best part of everything because it was some positivity, just like being a kind human. It sucked, man. Gruesome injury. The guy is one of the most exciting and enjoyable players to watch in all of the NFL, not just the Giants. And I know I'm biased, but after reading everything I've read up on the injury and what people have been saying, ESPN, NFL Network, like, this is a blow to the NFL, not just to the Giants. And so hopefully, he comes back because that is a gruesome injury, man.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I didn't know that the Eagles players, well, Eagles fans did that, and then the head of security also did that as well. As much as I hate the Eagles, that is commendable to hear that,
It's great.
We can still spread acts of kindness.
Yeah, it's awesome. Exactly what we want to hear.
Which we lack in this world. Yeah, man, I hope that he can bounce back from this sooner rather than later. He does bring a lot of fire and energy to the league, and I think that was exciting to see. With him and Jackson Dart, I think it was just a different element, style that you weren't seeing. You could tell football was fun for them.
That's what I was going to say. They brought fun to the game.
Yeah, and I think that part was seen across the league. So when you say his impact would be felt, I think it's more in that sense.
Yes, I completely agree.
So yeah, I'm hoping for a speedy recovery. You guys have just been hit with the injury bug, man. It's been crazy.
I know.
Hindsight 2020. Listen, you know how I feel about Brian Daboll, so it's getting there, but
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and but yeah, I want to just go back to what you said about the acts of kindness. It's nice, like that's what sports are for, right? To bring people together, bring communities together. It was just nice to see, despite these two teams being rivals, and Cam Scatterbo being like one of the icons, the new icons for your rival, and you're out there cheering for him. That's what it's about. I mean, it was a gruesome injury. And I know we're supposed to talk a lot about injuries on the show. We're going to make this one a little bit more brief, but basically with a ankle dislocation, right? You have your two bones, you have the tibia and the fibula. They come down and make those two ankle bumps, right, on each side. And what sits beneath those two ankle bumps is something called your talus, right? And it goes back and forth every single time we lift up and down our foot. And obviously there's more that goes to it. But when you dislocate an ankle, especially in the direction that he went, so his right ankle dislocated to the right, you have to break things and tear things. Now, without, getting too sciencey, bottom line is when we have things like a shoulder dislocation, the shoulder is a very unstable joint. You can still break things and tear things with a dislocation, but the damage that has to occur for something to dislocate in, say, an unstable joint like a shoulder is less than that of like an ankle. If you dislocate an ankle, you have to normally break through things because it's a much more stable joint.
Mm-hmm.
So, I had this question this morning by a patient, oh, did you see the injury? Like, what does that entail? Malik Neighbors, who tore his ACL, still has yet to undergo ACL surgery. Why? Because it's not an emergency surgery, and you're waiting for the swelling to go down, and you want optimal conditions prior to the surgery to have the best success post-operatively. So that's what they're working on with Malik Neighbors. When you're talking about an ankle dislocation and a fracture and ligamentous tear, right? If there's a break of any sort, we don't know what that break is. Is it aligned? Is it displaced? When a bone breaks, if it's displaced and you have shards of bone pointing in different directions, that can injure arteries, veins, nerves. So these things become very dangerous, and they're more emergent. That's why he did not leave Philadelphia. He went right to the hospital, and they figured everything out, and he underwent surgery last night to get everything back in position the way it needs to so that he could start his recovery. So wishing him the best. Scat, if you need any good doctors, I know a guy. I'll help you out with that rehab. So yeah, that's but yeah, so wishing him big time recovery. Wouldn't be my first I've treated at his level, no less. So
yeah, this is true.
This
is true.
But anyway, any more you want to add on the particular the dislocation and fracture injury?
No, I think you hit it right on the head, because I had a patient ask me kind of the same thing. They didn't go into super depth, but when they asked why he stayed in Philly, like I was like, well, for all the reasons you mentioned, it's like you just don't know. And if it's that severe, you don't want to risk, having him mobile and moving different places when
Absolutely
it's
not.
something that could be super emergent. So got to take care of it.
And he goes into that air cast to hold that foot in place, and he goes in the air cast. He goes right. So you can take images with the air cast, like So and then listen, if he didn't have to do that, they wouldn't have done it. And
exactly.
And that's the biggest thing to think about, right? So if anyone has, any of our listeners, viewers have any questions, please leave comments down below, and we'll make sure that we incorporate some more talk on this particular type of injury in our next show. More than happy to do it if anyone has specific questions. So we're going to be closing up the show shortly. We talked about Idiots of the Week, the NFL referees. Awful. FBI, get on that one. Also want to mention the Hemi Award winner for the Doc Huddle is MJB the Legend. Okay, we want to congratulate him on being an absolute animal, as he has done some great work for his company and earnings and results from patient cases, and just being a great example for his therapist. So we want to commend him on that. So we'll refer to him for Himothy for the remainder of the evening. So thank Mike, keep up the good work. Proud of you.
I appreciate that. It's good sometimes just getting recognition for certain things. We won't go into details about what, but we do a lot that doesn't get seen, and I feel like that's commendable, right? Just being a humble human being about stuff like that. But every now and then it's nice for people to kind of acknowledge that and give you praise when warranted.
I completely agree, and it's beyond warranted. So if you're not hearing it from the people that you should be hearing it from at work, you bet your ass you're going to hear it here, because that's what it's all about. So very, very proud, very happy for you. Keep up the good work. I have no doubt that you will. And let's move into our last segment. I want you to start it off for us. Stardom Situms.
All right. So Going into week 9. Listen, there's so many ways I could have went with this start 'em sit 'em for next week. Man, the injury bug around the league is crazy. I felt like this past week, this would
It's
have been
insane.
our last show. If we would have did a show last week, I think it would have really helped out a lot of viewers just because so many guys, if not injured, were on bye weeks. And like my entire bench was on a bye week, and I was like, this is crazy. Then I went to go look at other teams, and I was like, oh, they're going through the same thing. So sweet.
Yeah,
So,
it's been rough. It's been rough.
But my start 'em and sit 'em for week 9 would be I would start Tez Johnson because I think that the Buccaneers wide receiver room has just been decimated since the start of the season, and it just keeps compiling. Recently, Mike Evans done for the season. Igbuka's banged up. So a lot of guys like Sterling Sharp, Tez Johnson are getting more opportunities to play. And I think Tez Johnson led all their receivers last game with stats. It wasn't a crazy amount, but I think he's getting opportunities to build chemistry with Baker. And I think over time, you'll start to see the fruits of your labor. Who you're going to sit is Xavier Leggett. Okay. Do not be fooled. Do not be fooled by the performance you saw last week, thinking that he was going to build off of this. I'm hopeful as a Panthers fan that, eventually things will start to click, but they have not. And I am not optimistic that that's going to change anytime soon, unless I think that he might benefit from a different system, honestly, but that's personal bias there. But he has not produced the stats consistently for him to be warranted as a starter in your league. So if you have him, I honestly say you should probably let him go unless you're really backed up and hurt that badly. Otherwise, for this upcoming week, I say start Tez Johnson and start to even if you don't start him for next week, over time you're going to see that chemistry being built with Baker, and I think he'll be a viable option for you. Thoughts?
Love it. I absolutely love it. So much so that I already started Tez Johnson this last week. So we are on board here. I couldn't like it anymore.
And we did not talk about this. That's a
no, we did not. That is awesome. Tez Johnson is starting for me in one of my leagues, if not both at this point. I don't even know. But yeah, as we talked about earlier, my team's destroyed by the injury bug, like abysmal, like so bad. So yeah, Tez Johnson is definitely on my team and starting. Listen, this is a guy who, it's going to be inconsistent. He's a young rookie player, his production, but I think it will get better as the weeks go on. Listen, Sterling Shepard, as you had mentioned, he's just not doing enough. And I like Sterling as a former Giant, and I saw like a play, it wasn't in the best position. It was not put in the right spot for a back shoulder when Baker threw him the ball yesterday. But you got to go make a play on the ball, dude. You're not even making plays on the ball. I'm like, come on, Shep. You got to do better. So, not loving his performance. So I think with Emeka Egbuka as the number 1 now, with Mike Evans out for the year, dude, Tez Johnson is going to go right up there. And I think you're going to have Egbuka, Tez Johnson, and K. Dotton as their surefire top guys. And, the Tez Johnson story is a beautiful one. For those who don't know, he's Bo Nix's brother. So pretty exciting, a story that you want to root for. So I'm all for this legend. Go for it. And I'm going to pull up mine now. So listen, guys, we just talked about it. Scadaboo on my team, yet another injury. Very unfortunate. He's gone. So I gave you some options.
Yeah, I like options.
Listen, I put Tyrone Tracy at the back end. He was drafted in almost every league, right? Because he was primed to be the starter. If you're in a 10 or 12-man league, I don't think he's available in a single league. However, once he got hurt and Scadaboo became the starting guy and had the production, he was dropped in a few leagues. If he was dropped in your league, this is the surefire pickup. Forget about Harvey. Forget about Marks. You got to pick up Tracy because he's going to be the Giants need to run the football. That's how they're going to move the ball. He's going to be the premier back now, splitting with Singletary. And he's the guy that can catch the ball out of the backfield. So he'll get, if it's a PPR league, he still holds value there too. Go with Tyrone Tracy. Assuming he's gone, RJ Harvey, listen, I drafted him in one of the leagues. I think I dropped him. Then I picked him back up because of injuries. Harvey is starting to pick it up. He had a 100-yard rushing week just the other week. He put up like 24 points, I think, this past week. He's getting a lot more involved in the offense. So he's someone that it's going to fluctuate. You're not going to love the production from him each week, but he's worth picking up. And Woody Marks, another guy who had a lot of production for the Houston Texans this week. Same story. It's going to be up and down production, but it might be worth the pickup because he's available. Guys, it's real thin at the running back position. And take it from me, who's scrambling, trying to figure out what he's going to do with yet another injury now at the running back position. This is one, So, what are your thoughts on this based off of what little we have left from the running back pool?
Funny enough, I was gonna go with my starter and sit him with Tyron Tracy, but it's funny. I was like, "There's no way Mike doesn't." So there's no way Mike doesn't bring him up because like he's a solid starter. So like.
Oh, yeah.
It only
he's the
makes
premier
sense
back
to do
in New
that.
York.
Exactly.
And originally, I wasn't going to put him because I'm like, there's no way he's available in some leagues. But then I thought about it. I'm like, no, like, especially if it's an 8-man league, this dude was dropped at one point.
Yeah,
because
1,000%.
He's hurt. You're picking up other guys. I mean, unless you were that stacked on your bench and you didn't have to drop them. But especially now with the bye weeks having happened and the injuries and whatever else, if you had to pick up other guys and you had to drop someone, Tracy might have been the guy. So if he's available, make sure you pick him up. And if you are in a league where you have to allocate funds to bid for your free agents, this is a guy that you're going to throw all the money at because there's not many more guys that are going to be like this on the waiver wire that are going to have that big of an impact now that Scadaboo's gone.
Yeah, I agree. I really love the RJ Harvey pick. So yeah, he's not the clear-cut number one with the Broncos, right? Like, they still have J.K. Dobbins. But I think they're realizing R.J. Harvey's value. And I think Broncos want to be a run-first team, man. So if you're going to be that, it's just better to do with a two-back system. And I think they're starting to realize that. Yeah, J.K. Dobbins had the bulk of the carries and yards on Sunday, but it's R.J. Harvey who had the two rushing touchdowns. So I think they're going to try to find a way through these next couple of weeks of how to have a balanced attack because they're starting to look forward as like, hey, we make it to playoffs. We want to consistently be able to run the ball. And we don't want to have a guy who has to spell J.K. Dobbins who doesn't have much experience running the ball. So let's find balance. And most teams that have that, two-man system tend to do a lot better. So I think that I love that pick a lot with R.J. Harvey.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. And the only last thing I'll add to that is, Bo Nix has not been producing like he did his rookie year. He's been turning the ball over more. He still hasn't fully shored up his turnovers. So, he's doing okay. He's putting this team in positions to win. They're 6-2. But what's going to help out your second-year quarterback is establishing a better running game. And using a guy like this, I think, is going to help you get that done, like you mentioned. So I think it just hopefully the Broncos coaching staff and Sean Payton are seeing what we're seeing. And RJ Harvey continues to get, more carries and more touches, which will then help all of your fantasy teams.
Yeah. And to your point, Bo Nix is not having the same season, but with that sophomore slump, I just think the reason it's inevitable and people always talk about it is just there's film, right? Like
100%.
Teams
That's it.
know your
It's not rocket science.
They know what you like to do. Yeah. So it's like you're not gonna, have a great season when we know all your tendencies and it's on tape. So good job by them by knowing that and just taking the ball out of his hands and having him do less.
Completely agree. I completely agree. So we want to thank everyone for joining today's show. We're finishing and wrapping up just in time for you to transition from us to tonight's Monday Night Football game if you are watching. And if you're going to be watching this on recording, well, you'll have to go elsewhere to find out the results of tonight's game because we're signing off. But on that note, we hope everyone enjoyed today's show. We want to thank you for joining us. We'll see everyone next week. For Dr. MJB, the legend, I'm Dr. Mikey B. This is the Doc's Huddle.